Title.
Treasurer Mr. Weber, Superintendent Mr. Tucker, Board President Mr. Williams, and distinguished board members. Tonight we have a student from Frank Jacinto Elementary School to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. DeAndre Mercado is a 6th grade honor student and is the son of Tiffany Santana and Louis Sanabria. After the pledge, DeAndre will speak on Hispanic Heritage Month. Ms. Layla Flores, principal at Frank Jacinto, is here tonight to support her student. Everyone please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Mr. Tucker, and guests. I am honored by the opportunity to address you on such an important occasion in our country, a month where we celebrate the many contributions to our American society made by people of Hispanic descent. This year's theme, Getting Involved, our families, our community, our nation, couldn't be more appropriate for the question I want to answer. What is the meaning of Hispanic Heritage Month? I can easily bore you with statistics on U.S. Hispanic population, percent graduating from high school or college, average income, and how many join the U.S. Air Force. They are important, and to a greater degree, more attention needs to be given to these so the percentage can increase. However, I want to instead offer you this other perspective. This year's theme is a call for more action. These 3 words, family, community, and nation, are the core of what Hispanics are, what we believe, and the focus we should have to achieve success. Only then our contributions can be long-lasting. Sure, determining our success and contributions can be done in many ways. It can be political, as with current Secretary of Commerce Carlos Gutierrez or Governor Bill Richardson of New Mexico. It can also be in entertainment, as with actor Antonio Banderas or singer Gloria Estefan, or it can also be in other areas, as with renowned writer Isabel Allende, NASA astronaut Franklin Chang Diaz, and Medal of Honor recipient. However, it can also be determined that the Hispanic mother who sacrificed time, energy, and her youth to ensure her children go to school to have a better future. It can be the husband who kisses his wife and kids goodbye before working on farm fields and learning English at night with the sole purpose for pursuing a better future. It can also be the Hispanic couple who both work to bring an even bigger opportunity to family. It can be the neighbor who brings everyone together to visit someone in need. It can also be the first graduation university graduate, a newly opened Hispanic small business, or a first-time voter. Closer to home, it can be Mr. Aladodo bringing the entire base community together for a common cause, including this year's celebration at the Mexican Museum. Ms. Flores, principal of my school. Ms. Sanchez, principal of Helen Stern Rice, principal of Longfellow. They are all dedicated educators that work hard to make sure we learn each and every day in the Lorain community. Finally, it can also be the Hispanic airman who decides to join the military to serve our nation and for an even bigger cause. Everyone determines their own success and contributions to our rich American history and Hispanic contributions to family, community, this great nation are varied, visible, and enduring. Follow a path already established or make your own. Either way, do not sit still. Take up the call for more action. Now returning to my question on the meaning of Hispanic Heritage Month. It is an opportunity to remind ourselves who we are, re-energize the core beliefs, and continue our focus on the future.
I'd like for the Outreach parents to please stand, and family, and thank you for your support as well. Honor certificate and also a picture with the board if possible.
Dr. Hall. At this time, can I have Mr. David Ford come up to the podium? Mr. Jason Ariano is our SRO, School Resource Officer. He's a Lorain police officer. He's housed at the high school, but he also visits all the elementaries and junior highs in our district. At this time, I want you to step right up here front and center, okay? All right, Mr. Principal, Mr. Kiefer, would you want to please join us?
Sure.
David is a fine young man. He was nominated by our police chief, Sal Rivera, Lorain Police Department. He is an Emerald King Elementary student, and the day of the first evangelical Lutheran church, when we had the fire, we had to close the school that day because it's right across the street. So at that time, Mr. Ford enjoys his ravioli, I understand, the Chef Boyardee brand, or any other kind. And he spoke to his parents and grandmother saying, you know, and he heard that the pantry over there at the church burned also. So at that moment, he decided that he wanted to start a food drive and talk to the principal. And with that, he was a star. He was in our local Morning Journal newspaper in regards to that, and received a lot of FedEx boxes and mails and things like that, people donating towards the church's food drive. So with that, you were nominated, like I said, by the police chief, and that's pretty neat. And we, Lorain City Schools, along with the police department, when we find somebody that did the right thing, as you can see the banner, we want to bring forth here and honor you with that. So there's some goodies, Mr. Tucker, if you would please.
That shirt says "Soon coming."
And I'll have Mr. Orleano, Officer Orleano, give you.
This is our certificate. On behalf of the police department, we'd like to give you this for doing the right thing. Congratulations, and we're definitely proud of you. You did the right thing.
Go ahead, Mr. Tucker.
Right. In addition to that, we have a number of tickets and some other goodies for him that he can have on his own to share. And once again, we'd like a picture because we'd like to take a picture with all our students.
And with the parents?
With the parents.
The siblings, and the
Whole back row.
aunts, and the grandma, and what's saying also?
Okay, at this time, we would entertain our first hearing of the public. If there's anyone who would like to address the board, you may take the opportunity at this time. Seeing that there are no takers, we'll move forward with the approval of the minutes. We have these in three parts. We've had a number of special meetings, and everyone was at an attendance at all of these meetings, so we'll take these each separately. So we need a motion to approve the minutes from September 1, 2014. September 4th, oh, I can't say.
Motion to approve September 4th, 2014.
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Motion to approve the minutes for September 8th?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Abstain, I was not at the meeting.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Motion to approve September 15th, 2014?
Roll call, please. Oh, got a second, somebody?
Support that motion.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Abstain,
Any reason why?
because I wasn't present.
Mr. Smith?
Abstain, I was not present.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
This time, is there any old business for discussion? Okay. Moving forward, we have the report and recommendation of the treasurer, Mr. Weber.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just 3 items on the docket this evening. Item 1 is the approval of the August 2014 financial reports. Item 2 is purchase orders requiring board approval. And item 3 is a donation from the House of Praise Church. Recommend for approval items 1, 2, and 3.
Motion to approve items 1 through 3.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Then we'll do.
Before we do, I'll just ask this question to the board members. Gentlemen, there's a contract piece that is up. We've had discussion in the executive session prior, I believe, on this issue. I didn't get any messages that was any lack of clarity or more explanation needed. If we would like to go into executive session, we can. If we're comfortable with the information we received and discussed, we can forego that and go right into the recommendations from the superintendent. So, anyone?
Item 5, what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Item 5?
Are we comfortable, gentlemen?
Hold on a second.
Item 5. US study.
We're good?
Okay, under personnel matters, A, item 1, you can see A, certified staff. This is with the changes in STRS coming. They are starting to come in now for the certified staff. B is support staff. These are 2 employees that have been with us a while who are moving on to other areas. Item 2, new appointees. As you can see, Loretta Jones is back for an interim principal for this year. Support staff are sub-cleaners. Under item 3, leave of absences as listed. Item 4, these are the supplemental contracts which are for the year and also for clubs and other items for the extra class. Item 4B is the special needs supplementals as per the contract. And so I ask for approval of personnel matters items 1 through 4.
Motion to approve items 1 through 4?
Support motion.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I ask for approval of item number 5, the Sheet Metal Workers International Contract.
Motion to approve item 5? Second?
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Under B, Operation Matters, item 6, this is a work-related activities for our eligible students for the Youth Edge program, no cost to the district, and a contract with Silver and Strong, and this is part of our designing the new master schedule for the junior highs and high school to be creative. We're bringing some experts in to assist with that. We're involving a lot of teachers and administrators in doing that. So I ask for approval of Operations Matter B, items 6 and 7.
Motion to approve Operations Matters, items 6 and 7.
Support.
Discussion, gentlemen.
I've got a question. Is this to training for the staff? Is that what this is?
This is a lot of things. We have been stuck in the same master schedules for years. And the gentleman that we are bringing in is nationally known and wrote the book on it. And he is taking us through a series of activities in where teachers are involved and administrators are involved in the possibilities, not just entering the data on that is there, but the possibilities. His expertise is in urban schools and adapting a schedule for the urban students so they can take a lot of the classes. And we've already had a single session which was fantastic, and this room was full of people, and now we're moving it down into junior high and high school. This was actually a staff request to continue this work for the year, because we plan on having that schedule ready to go in January.
I mean, my thought on this was strictly because, I mean, I before you were here, I've heard of the problems we've had with scheduling, and a lot of it was relied on one or two people. What I'm saying is I'm glad to see that more people are getting into it and getting trained for it.
What he does is lay out here, so there's only a number of ways you can do it, but what he does is by having teachers of all different areas, whether it's mathematics, language arts, career tech, everyone weighs into it, so they understand the different complexities, and everyone comes up with when everybody weighs in as a team, things tend to work a lot better.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Mr. Weber, roll call, please.
Mr. Fells?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And other matters C, it's National School Lunch Week resolution under item 8.
Motion to approve item 8?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fells?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
That concludes my report recommendations.
Is there any new business for discussion? At this time, we'll have any committee reports or requests from board members.
I will just say that as legislative liaison, although there's been no bills passed in Columbus since they all went on vacation and they're all running for office, so there won't probably be any. But to point out to the board members and the public, there is a very important piece of legislation still floating around in the State House. It's House Bill 597. And Mr. Tucker is well aware of what the ramifications of that will be, because if it is passed, Ohio will opt out of the Common Core curriculum and other things and go into another legislative designed program. So I know you get updated as I do through LSBA. We need to make sure I've shared my concerns with both Dale Manning and Danny Ramos, that I think just leave it alone. I think it's, discuss that with you. That's your feeling as well, that it would be more destructive and costly if that, in fact, that legislation is passed. And one more thing, I don't know how many of you saw the story in the Chronicle on Saturday about delinquent taxes. I am going to recommend to the board that at the 20th meeting, when Dale Weber will be presenting for board approval a 5-year forecast, that we in fact pass a resolution strongly encouraging the county to develop a more aggressive policy in collecting delinquent taxes. Right now, we are owed about $5 million of taxes that should have been paid but haven't been paid. And the story was well written. It covered other districts. Elyria, I think, is around $3 million. And that's not only unfair to our kids, the kids are the true victims, but it's also unfair to the people who are struggling and still paying their taxes. And I'm not convinced there is an aggressive movement on the proper authorities' part to get people to pay, because in fact, if there's nothing to lose by not paying, why would you pay? And in one case, a local businessman, it was over $150,000. A judge owing $44,000. I'm not worried about the fella or that woman who's lost their job and is struggling. That's understandable. I will use, in closing my comments, the words of a Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court Justice by the name of Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., who said, and I quote, "Taxes are what we pay for a civilized society. And paramount to a civilized society is a well-educated public." And we, I believe, Mr. Weber, could well use the $5 million sitting out there not being collected. So my recommendation is at the meeting in which Mr. Weber brings forth the 5-year forecast, that we can at least consider a resolution encouraging the proper authorities to become more aggressive in collecting those delinquent taxes. Dale, you told me earlier today that that's approximately 10 mils of tax that we are not collecting that voters approve. Well, that's a lot of change, especially in a district as poor as ours. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say a couple things. Mr. Hawks and I met with the people from the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame to discuss their space, and they seem to be really happy, and they know that they're sharing this space with the Historical Society, but they seem to be really happy with what's going on with our partner with Lorain City Schools. And also I wanted to say about our football program is we're looking really good right now. If things keep progressing, really good things are going to happen. But overall, the program overall is, we're way above 500, and even more important is I think the academic part of the football program that is closely watched is really going to benefit us. So that's all I got.
And of course, I'm really excited about football. However, my daughter plays volleyball. And if I said I'm equally excited about football and volleyball, I would not be telling the truth. So, go volleyball. Those gals are playing some good ball out there, and so I had to get that in, because I know, football's king.
I want to thank Joe Bach, because the whole family got to sit around and watch my 2 granddaughters from Johnny Wilson on the channel, and that was our entertainment for the Sunday dinner. So it was they enjoyed it.
That's why I brought it up, though, because you got grandsons that play football, but those granddaughters. And if you didn't make that comment, you've been in trouble when you got home. So, looking out for you, man.
Thank you.
Anyway, no, all of our folks are doing wonderfully well. And I guess I would have one comment, because we had the bonfire, which is a wonderful tradition, and there was a little incident. But I think that as I've had a lot of feedback from folks, and in the context, all the feedback I've got is, over 3 years. 1,000 kids down at the lake, that's not that bad. I mean, in all honesty, that's, so our kids are doing an exemplary job of managing themselves. And so we want to commend them, because when 99% do the right thing, we will not allow the small minority to take the, all the limelight from what's good that's going on. So we commend the committee who puts that together, the levy committee, and the other community folks. It's a really spectacular event. I would say this: I hope that going forward, so for the last few years, of course, here's me, volleyball dad again. There's a volleyball game on the.
It's already been discussed.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to. Yeah.
No. There was the crowd was twice the size that we've had. And the alumni was twice the size. And actually, for the 5th game of the football season, to have almost 3,000 people in the stands is pretty amazing also. And I also want to comment that they had the homecoming dance, that Dr. Sturgill was the principal there, and it was the largest crowd they've ever had without an incident. All the complaints I heard was my legs were tired because I danced all night. But it was a great weekend for the kids.
This, not only in the past, but this year's bonfire was a great event. I mean, it was
Unbelievable.
spectacular.
It's always been good.
It was amazing, and a couple, we had a couple bad apples, created a bad situation.
At the very end, for 10
again,
minutes.
Yeah, for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's all it was. But the entire event, there was a lot of people that worked very, very hard
on making that event very special, and I think the majority of 90% of the, even maybe bigger than that, appreciated that event, and it was, you know, sitting by and watching, you know, all the things that were going on and watching that alumni. I think it was just an amazing event, and that shouldn't, that little few minutes shouldn't deter us from making it even bigger next year and better next year.
I saw a whole lot of alumni I hadn't seen in many, many years, because I got a lot of former students that just came to be part of it.
Who probably did a lot worse than the.
I'm sure
We just
there's
get it
a
reported in
few,
those days.
a few students who are
When Mr.
regretting
I'm sure Mr. Giardini can
A few
share
students who
stories of his
regret their
days at
actions.
Admiral King. Or the-
you know, I mean,
That's just in math class.
when they were blowing up commodes with M80s. And look, I know two of those guys, and you know what? They're millionaires today.
all I can say is I enjoyed myself, so I'm not gonna let anything like that detract from it.
Well, there is one competitive activity that I would like to see restored if possible in the next couple of years, and that's the Model UN. We led.
We're ready to go on that, we're just waiting for someone, we're trying to get someone
It's already on somewhere.
to lead it.
It's
And
already,
it's
supplemental's already picked up.
supplemental's already there. You're way ahead of me, Dr. Hall. So it's already set to go.
Well, there's a lot of former UN members who may not be teachers, but might be willing to work towards bringing that back.
It's
And,
back.
It's back.
Caitlin, yep,
Yeah,
just,
well, we're
yeah,
back.
it's back, it's back
Oh, we're
tonight.
at it.
It's back
Wonderful,
tonight.
that's great.
All right, well,
Soccer, is soccer coming back?
I will know
Tennis?
I will know in 4 weeks.
Golf?
okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if we're lobbying, I want to get one then.
Hey, we got 3 A's and a B and C on our report cards.
Okay.
Thank you for those reports and requests and comments. This time we'd entertain our second hearing of the public. I know you guys are just dying to get to the podium and share some perspective. Not really? Okay. Well, I guess, when is our next board meeting?
October 20th.
October 20th? So our next boarding will be October 20th, right here at 6:30 p.m. If there's nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Dear.
Yes, yes.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.